You know how we do it. We go live also on YouTube. And so, again, welcome to the broadcast. And want you to get on social media and let everyone know what's happening this morning. And we will take you there now. Brett, folks don't get an opportunity to see you. So I just want you to go do as you do. Go ahead and greet everyone.
Good morning, Impulsive Barbara. Good morning, PH. How you doing? Good morning to everybody in the listening vicinity. How's everybody doing?
We're great. We're great. Yes. And also, Commissioner Kenya Weathers is with us, but he's with us via call in. And so, all right, sir, go ahead and greet everyone. As I'm scanning Cup of Java, the cafe, so that everyone knows what's going on. All right. Okay. And so, Kenya, go ahead and greet everyone. All right, great. All right, we're going to also probably catch a couple of guests that have stepped in here, and so we'd like to do that. Let's do this just for a moment. Hello. Cup of Java, do you frequent here? I'm SB Barber of the SB Barber Morning Show. Tell everyone who you are.
I'm Stephen Belton.
Yes, dear friend. So tell us what's going on. You know, we're going to be talking about everything is political, and we want to make sure that our community is engaged. No reason for them to say they didn't know, and that's why we're taking the walls off. Stephen, you are absolutely dapper this morning.
Thank you very much.
Please, what would you like for the community to know as we are approaching November 17th? But as importantly, November 17th is on its way, but today is today.
November 8th is the day I'm looking forward to. And what the community needs to know is that your vote counts. You need to be out there voting. This is not one that you can afford to sit on the sidelines. So whatever your preference is, there's a clear choice for you, and you need to get it done. You also need to know that I am late for a 9:15 appointment in my office, and I need to run. So be well.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
All right. As I said, that's one of the reasons why we take the walls off and come into the community, because this is where the community thrives. This is how they flow. All right. Brett, our guest. She was going to be with us last week. For those of you that we promised you we would do whatever it took to get her here. But this is a busy woman. First of all, what are you drinking there? You know, I believe in health, well, and fit. So.
Well then, it is a green monster. So it's spinach with apples and mango and pineapple mixed with black iced tea with a little bit of hemp protein powder and flaxseed milk with a touch of honey and lime lemon juice. Blend it together with a little ice cube, work to perfection.
You know what? I think everybody got a hold of that. Why do you drink this particular Monster Green?
Honestly, so I just started doing smoothies a couple weeks ago, and it's a way for me to make sure that I'm eating well.
That's right.
Especially when I'm on the go. And so it's just an easy way to have all my fruits and vegetables in one container when I'm driving and going into meetings. So it's one easy way of having all my meals into one, big chunk of them.
All right. You go by PH,
Yes.
correct? And tell everyone what your responsibility is and who you work with or for.
Yeah. So, as you said, my name is P.H. Copeland, and I work with the City of Minneapolis as a community specialist. And so I do voter outreach with the City of Minneapolis. I'm one of 9 individuals that's been hired with the intention of reaching out to our community, making sure that we are getting out to the polls this upcoming for the upcoming election. We understand that Minneapolis has really good turnout for certain people, but not for people that look like you and myself. And so we are trying to make sure that folks have the information that they need to make the best decision for themselves and their families. And so that will involve the early vote center. It will involve knowing how to register and update the registration, how to plug in as far as helping to volunteer and becoming election judges. And so we are just vault of information going out to the community so that they can have that information.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we also have been joined by, now these are the voices, the heavy hitter voices that you don't get to see on the broadcast. And we said enough is enough. And hats off to Cup Java for opening up their doors and welcoming us. As you can hear and you see the hubbub going on, well, I'm telling you, there's some conversations going on that I wish we could kind of plug in on, because I'm telling you, some of these conversations have to do with equity and inequity. And some of these conversations are not about us. I'll just pause right there and let you fill in the gap. But then there are conversations about us. Sometimes our allies, our white friends and those who are in or heads of organizations, etc., they will ask us the serious question, well, what do you need? What do you need? Now, our commissioner, Queen Belita Kimmons, has joined us, and so I'll have her go ahead and greet everyone.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And the listening audience, thank you and be blessed.
All right. You know, what's on your agenda? What's on your heart? Because we've been talking about housing and the equity and some other things. And Kenya McKnight Ahad was going to join us this morning, and she may still come through the door. But there's some serious things that are really perplexing you, to the point that even though, how do we say it, you have the responsibility and the governing aspect of being involved with several organizations. What are those organizations?
Well, for one, I'm a commissioner, and I am the president of NCEC, which is Neighborhoods Community Engagement Commission, and so I leave the hat on that right now. Also, I am a executive director of One Family, One Community. I'm a community outreach with the city of Minneapolis to get people engaged on voting, and that my specific population of people are African American people who are living in shelters and people who have criminal records.
All right, so criminal records. We had a conversation on yesterday at Sammy's Avenue Eatery, and we're going to bring that back around. And I'm telling you, it was quite enlightening from the standpoint of we unfortunately are wearing some shackles that aren't even on us.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
We're wearing some shackles as it relates to the 13th Amendment that are not even on us. The only serious aspect is if we can criminalize the individual, then that gives us reason to imprison them.
It's a continuing servitude of involuntary slavery is what it is. The 13th Amendment speaks about that. And so in the aspects of voting, if you are still on paper, if you are still dealing with any parts of parole, probation, or parole, that all that says is that you cannot vote. But what we have been pushing is that once you are out of incarceration, you should be able to restore your vote, restore your rights to vote. And there should even be a step that is not mentioned, that the Department of Corrections' responsibility should be that you have some notification once you are done with parole or probation that you can go back out and vote. Now, I don't know very many people at this moment that has said that they have received that letter saying that they can restore their vote, they have their civil rights back. And so, therefore, what we are asking is that the state step in and kind of do some other creative things
All right.
for those individuals.
You know, we want to get Jason's soul to the table, and we're going to reach out to him if we have to
I know
tie
Mr.
his
Soul.
arms and bring him in, because now the vote has been restored for him. That's worth being celebrated, but I believe that it's powerful and it's something that other individuals need to know. All right, Brett and Kenya, Commissioner Weathers is on the call-in line with us. All right, Brett, what's on your mind today? Everything is political.
Well, it's real simple. Folks gotta vote. Just cut to the chase about everything that's going on right now. If you don't vote, you don't count. Keep it simple, keep it real. And I know a lot of people would say, well, that's my right. Yes, it is your right to choose to vote or not to vote. But at the end of the day, let's be real about this. Yes, things are not great, good, whatever else, but they're much better than where we've been. We have to keep moving on with progress. We have to keep pushing. We have to actually say with a clear voice about the exact things that we want, and then fight for those things. Hold elected individuals accountable, but you can only hold elected individuals accountable by the vote. So as much as we like to say that it doesn't count, it doesn't work, it works just fine when you don't participate. It works better when you do. So what I'm more worried about right now is that people trying to get into this conversation about the lesser of two evils at the national level. There's other candidates. The question is as we all say, all politics is local. The stuff that goes on in your backyard, you have a lot more control over than you think. And we have candidates out there that won by less than 70 votes in the last election that control the state budget. We have individuals who, the reason why the majority of one side or another side was basically around no more than 10,000 votes out of close to 2 million cast. So if you start putting the simple thing of my vote doesn't count, well, ask yourself about your access to health care or your access to better policies as relates to policing in your communities. Ask about education. Those critical pieces that allow for your life to build up. I hear people in their frustration about it didn't happen, but it's not an instantaneous activity. We're just coming out, we're less than 2 generations, probably a generation for some of us, that we didn't have the vote. 1963, 64, 65 is the evolution of Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, and the continuation of the voting and civil rights pieces. And that's just the 63, 64, 65. Our parents were alive, and parents are still alive. So our question to everybody in this area is, what are you going to do now?
All right, let's let PH jump in here. Go for it. What do you want folks to know? This is your moment.
Yes, so if you already are not registered to vote, you can do so at our website, vote.minneapolismn.gov. You can register there. If you have moved since you last voted, if you have changed your name since you last voted, if you haven't voted in 5 years, you need to update your registration. And you can do that again at vote.minneapolismn.gov. The reason why it's so important to get that done in advance because it makes it really simple. You don't have to bring any additional documents with you to the polls. Yes, we do have same-day registration, which is a fabulous thing that not a lot of states have in the country, but we do. But one thing that you can do early is to pre-register. So you don't have to be bothered with bringing any additional documents, whether that be an ID or a utility bill. You can just go and say, I'm here. The cutoff date for pre-registration is the 18th. That's actually next Tuesday, the 18th of October, to pre-register. You can do that online, you can do it via your smartphone, your computer, you can do so at various libraries, or you go to one of our early vote centers, which are located 4 locations in Minneapolis to update your registration or to register to vote. I mentioned the early vote centers. A lot of folks don't know this is our first year ever having 4 early vote centers in Minneapolis. Typically, in previous years, we've had one downtown at City Hall. We have 4 this year to increase accessibility and to help cut down some of the lines on the day of election on November 8th. And so you would like to go and vote early, you can do so today if you are a resident in Minneapolis. You have 4 options, one downtown at 217 South 3rd Street. There's one northeast at the Water Bar, 2516 Central Avenue Northeast. There's one here north side at the Urban Lake, 2100 Plymouth Avenue North, and then south side at the Ruth Depot, 1860 East 28th Avenue. And so those are open at 8 a.m. and they close at 4:30. And so if you want to go and vote today, I encourage you, if you have the right to vote, go and cast your ballot, get it done and over with. It's a really joyous way to participate civically. You also get to participate with a selfie wall, which is really cool. So you can say, hey, I voted, hashtag Minneapolis votes. Also, you should know that the hours are extended starting October 28th, which will October 24th, excuse me, which will include weekend hours as well as later evening hours. So you can find that information on our website. But again, this is a really great way to go and participate civically, as well as bring some of your children and youth, as well as other folks in your life to go and participate. If you want, you're looking for election judges, and so I was looking at a stat yesterday that said in 2014 there was a percent of, I think it was 78% of election judges that were white. If there was 14%, I believe it was 14% that were Black or African American. That has increased since 2010, but there's still just, it needs to grow. And so if you are interested in becoming an election judge, you do get paid in Minneapolis. We have the highest pay for election judges in the state, $13.30 basic an hour. And this is a way for you to build community with build relationships with your community, have fun, answer questions, and then also get paid. This is a way for you to also work alongside of our thriving youth, ages 16 and 17 years old. There will be placed within the polling places all over Minneapolis, and so this is just a way to do that. Legally, you do get the right off of work to participate as an election judge. A lot of folks don't know that. You have to give your employer 20 days notice in advance. If you say, well, I am my own employer, then you have nothing to worry about. Come and serve as an election judge. If you want to apply online, you can do so at vote.minneapolismn.gov, and this is a great way to do so. I often talk about election judge. Being an election judge is just like radical hospitality, where you have a party and you are the host and you are making sure folks have their drinks, their food, they're having a good time, answering any questions. It's just like that, but at the polling place. And so what better opportunity for you to plug in and have have a lot of fun and do something different than serve in that capacity.
Excellent. You know, I'm going to hit 2 points. I want you two to come in closer. And Commissioner Kenya, who's with us via remote line call in, and Brett may not be able to stay through this portion, so we're going to allow him the space to be able to, pull out, but say what he needs to say. But I want to make sure that even though we're talking to voters, we've got an underground movement. There's an underground movement, and there are 2 aspects of that. One is simply, I am not interested in this election. Beautiful. It is against everything morally that I believe in. There are those that aren't even thinking from the morality standpoint, but they're saying we need our own, enough is enough, and they're beginning to move in that direction. And so those votes, we have to face reality, are not going to be counted for in this 4-year election. But the movement is on. All right. That's one, kind of 2 pieces there. And then you have that group of those who they're not really connected to social media the way we'd like for them to be. They're in the neighborhoods. There is the grassroots movement, etc. But there are those that are saying, I still don't know what I want to do. And they really don't know where to go. They're watching social media, but that's not the story. That's not reality. what do you all want to say to those that they're just not, I'm not talking about the movement underground for independency, emancipation, all right? I'm talking about those individuals that still are not there yet and they really want to be, but they're just not engaged. And so from the voters' rights standpoint, as well as Commissioner Kimmons, you deal with housing and so much more, but you are on the ground. Last week you were out remote dealing with properties while she was on air with us. So you feel it, you're there. What do you want folks to know, and what do you want to say to individuals that are connected with those pockets but may not be inspiring them or even engaging them?
So what I hear is that there's two types of people, right? There are those individuals that are conscious and those individuals that are still amongst us. They living, they breathing, but they just, they unconscious.
Unconscious. Stay right there. Stay right there. Brett, she said they need to be resuscitated. They're unconscious. You're going to have to go. So we want you to go from that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
You want to start off with that, huh?
Yes, everything is political. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This is reality.
Well, I think Queen's right. You're trying to have a community that has been systematically, consciously and subconsciously disenfranchised, disconnected, and just quite honestly in disbelief of their role and responsibility within the society. We have the book says up from slavery. Yeah, we here now. I mean, that's the simple thing.
We here now.
We here now. And what the question is what do we want our society to look like tomorrow? Because we can't change what's about to happen in the next 5 seconds, next couple minutes, whatever else. But we can't change what tomorrow looks like if we actually do it. But that is going to take a conscious decision to be able to say this is our role. And to understand that there are things already in play, things are already kind of making, but the way I look at it is that if you think about it, there's always going to be room at the table if you dare to sit down. I think more than anything else, I think the community needs to be challenged because you know how it goes down. We get challenged. Oh, you can't be doing that to me. Da 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 da. No. Here's your challenge. Get off your ass. Butt.
Yeah.
Get off your butt.
Yeah.
I said it that, and I apologize. But the reality is that our ancestors didn't sit down and take it. From slavery, from the first time that somebody came across the Atlantic into South America, Central America, and we got to remember that we are not isolated in this conversation. Our brothers and sisters, our generations are everywhere. My family, by way of Jamestown, all the way down to Texas, coming all the way up here, and then also Mississippi. It's that legacy of survival and thrived under those conditions. You think about any other time in human history that a society has been able to survive and thrive with the amount of strife and peril that's been put before us. That's remarkable. So we have to remind ourselves is that by nature we are winners. By nature we are strong. We are the ones that actually built this society, and it's actually time for us to be able to build up and connect across this whole thing. But the test is that you got to stand up in order to do it. So we got questions and we got challenges.
All right, we've got questions and we've got challenges, and so we have someone that's going to graciously take our photo as we continue this dialogue. Let's just turn this way as we continue to talk. We cover the bases. This is the crew, and we'll capture him as he's taking us. All right. All right. And
you,
so, thank you, Brett, for that insight. All right. Kenya, you heard Commissioner Queen Melita say, unconscious. We're going to leave this seat for folks to come and join us in just a moment. So I'm going to get to some people. But what do you want to say, sir? Are you still with us? All right. Go ahead. Take it from here.
So here's what I want to say about the design of consciousness and the design of unconsciousness, right? So there's systems and design rooms where individuals are still perpetuating that, right? So to break away from that, you got to get engaged. One of the things I also want to add is that a lot of times people are just not with the wherewithal, right? They don't have, you don't know what you don't know. And so if you knew that becoming a delegate was as important as your vote really does matter, how your vote is counted with the electoral college voting process. If you knew all those different things, that probably would change your life, because then you know that if you become a delegate in your precincts, in your area, at your polling places, and how
now, what does that mean? We're going to do 101.
That's party talk.
Right,
okay. That's party talk, because it's really up to the parties to get out here, door knock, and engage these individuals, and really let them know how important their vote really is. I think that if people knew that being a delegate was a way to really be strong and powerful in voting, there would be a lot more delegates. The difference, even if people knew the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party process on being delegates and how that vote is counted. When you're a Republican, you don't have to be a super delegate. You just have to be a delegate. And I think like those conversations, we don't have those conversations. So if we don't have those conversations, people aren't really engaged when it comes to, around for voting.
Define delegate. Would you do that? Define delegate.
Honestly, I am not entirely certain of all the delegate, how that whole process works. I was a delegate for the first time at my convention this past season, and it was just a way for me to participate within my party to help elect certain individuals. And so it's basically showing up, and you are a registered voter in your area. But as far as like the nitty-gritty details, I can't speak to that because it was my first time ever engaging in that process. So that's what I'm going to talk about right now.
All right. Would you just touch her for a moment? That's how we do it. Hi, would you come over here just for a moment? I know you've got your package, so if you'll bring your purse and bag and just come here for a quick moment. We may not get a moment like this again. You know, I think Wednesday something's going on. Everybody's saying that. You know what? Whoever she is over or resides to, we need to hear this. What do you want to say about the community at this time as it relates to getting ready to vote? There's some decisions that are on the table, or even whatever's on your heart today, because I know you got something. You got something for us, and tell everyone who you are.
My name is Karen.
Okay, Karen, we'll stop right there. Go ahead.
So you're taping me. What is this for?
This is for SB Barber Morning Show.
Okay. So I'll just say that it's important to get out and vote. Vote for the right that we struggle so hard to get that right to vote. And no matter where you are and where you stand on any position or any political party, vote. And also the fact that it's African Americans, we have come a long ways. And to say that we have not come a long ways is questionable in my point, because we see more and more of us everywhere. Every gender, we're there. So I think it's very important for us to vote, and vote your heart and your conscience. And it's about all of us as Americans, not just African Americans. It's about all of us. But as an African American, it's still even it's extremely important as well.
Queen, thank you. All right, take our card with it. You can get this live on GMN Live Facebook as well as YouTube. All right, ladies, queens in the house, can I have a seat? Talk to us just for a moment.
Oh, yes. Queen.
All right. As you were saying, talking about the delegate,
Yes.
so that people can understand. I mean, the mere fact that you made reference to people can be judges and be paid for that. Julian Jackson is a premier election judge, and I mean she's got it. She interacts, etc. So we're going to have to get her to the table to tell us what's going on there, as well as Josephine Myers Kendall, and she is Democratic. However, there's some insight. This young up-and-coming woman that's on the move, she's all in it, and most people don't even know it, and so we want to talk with her. So again, there's opportunity here for you even to just get close enough to know what's going on.
Yes.
But again, back to whatever.
Yeah, so, I'm going to speak from my own personal experience. I remember when Brett was working for, running for city council, and it was my first time really being engaged at the polls. It was my first time really understanding delegates, how that process worked. It was the first time that I was able to bring my kids in, get my kids door knocking and getting engaged. And ranked choice voting was a part of that process. We have ranked choice voting that's going to happen again next year, as our other candidates locally will be up for election. And so I've been around for a while, and I think that I'm gonna go back and touch bases on this. If black folks was more inclined, if they were more knowledgeable about the whole process, and I say this because it really kind of is up to the parties to outreach to our communities and get those individuals engaged. There's really not a high momentum or morale in North Minneapolis. As I was listening to some statistics yesterday at our roundtable discussion, in North Minneapolis, they are not, the numbers are not up in North Minneapolis in terms of voting. I certainly hear these stories over and over and over about why they don't want to participate in the voting process. And so I think that what happens is that, people have been so browbeaten and downtrodden that they really don't have the memorial. So the belief in the system is that it's just not there. So anything designed against you is not going to be for you. And so in that regard, people need to really think about how to undo those policies and undo those systematic treatments. And you do that by getting out to vote.
All right. Any point, PH, and you can go ahead and say your final conclusion to all of this.
Yes, there are multiple ways in which people can be involved. And we understand, and I personally believe that voting is just one way in which to be involved. It's not the end all be all. It comes to being able to, once you pass that ballot, be able to engage with your elected. So whether it be writing a letter or speaking with them or going and testifying at a House or a Senate or writing letters, whatever